This is The Roman Show.
Attitude, man. It sounds like, you mentioned the difficulty of what he had to put himself through. I mean, it seems like he's kind of a breath of fresh air and the kind of fighter you want to work with.
Yeah, no, I say it all the time, and it's so true, and it's never more true than in moments like this with partners. We do our part, they do their part, and the whole thing works out for everybody. And this was the perfect example of it.
You mentioned you didn't sleep last night, though. What was going through your head?
I don't sleep as it is without this shit. This has been a crazy month. But I was up bright and early, on the phone, walking the streets of Sacramento this morning, and I was talking to Lorenzo. I said, I think I'm addicted to chaos. I love it.
And what did you think? I mean, obviously the show, it started out a little slow, I think, maybe, but
it started out a little slow because we had 3 fights for the prelims in 2 hours. We had to do what we had to do, but these guys came in and, as usual, delivered. It was a great show. Some great fights. I mean, some of those fights, that fucking choke, I've never even seen anything like that. The combination and how many punches she landed in a short amount of time. Like I said, I haven't seen that since Ronda Rousey. And it was the other great. I think Tony is one of the most exciting up-and-coming fighters there is right now. That kid put himself in harm's way in ugly positions to try to win the fight, to try to finish the fight. And he's exciting and fun to watch. And TJ, like I said, handled this whole thing like an absolute stud. And Soto was the guy who didn't always come to fill a spot. He came to win. So it was a great night.
What did you think of Barao's, when you had the conversation with Joe Rogan and kind of told what happened?
I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it?
No, I didn't hear it. So last minute I pulled the trigger on that thing. I said, get Barao here. I want him to go on TV and I want to hear, because the doctor said he was fine and he was good. So we got him in here like last minute, and Joe was all fired up to sit down and interview. So I didn't hear it yet.
How would you rank this with Barao coming out to head? How would you rank this? It's like
One of my shittiest moments ever. one of those, yeah, definitely.
top 3?
Yeah, it's different when you get that call and the guy gets injured and stuff like that. When the guy doesn't make weight, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Dana, in TJ Dillashaw, you clearly have a champion now that is willing to go for a finish, even when he's pitching a shutout on the scorecard. And historically, you've been frustrated, even with guys like Anderson Silva. Some fans get frustrated with GSP when that would happen. I mean, he's very self-effacing in his comments about that, but to you, that's got to mean a lot that he does.
He's exciting. The kid, when you ask him how the fight was going and what did he do, explain it to you. This kid, I had to watch out because, he's a good wrestler, and if I get too close, we get down on the ground. And that kid's really good from the top, too. His jiu-jitsu's great from the top. And, but he stayed outside, he picked him apart. The punch down on that thing was ridiculous. He hit him with a ton of punches, and he dominated him. He fought a great fight, and he stepped up. And I couldn't say enough good things about him today.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
It also seems, too, it's one thing to take the title, but it seems like in the process of getting it and then defending it tonight, he's really making himself marketable.
Right. I agree. Hold on, this guy's.
So basically, given all the time and effort and money that you put into promoting the headliners and the fact that they receive potentially pay-per-view points, have you ever consider some sort of scenario where, barring an act of God or an injury, there is some accountability for these guys, that when they don't come in, there's some,
There's serious accountability right now for Barao. Barao, listen, there's no excuse for what he did. You don't come here and not make weight. But he pays all the penalty. Yeah, it hurt us, it hurts the show and everything else, but that kid didn't make a paycheck. He's going home with no money, going home without a dime. He hasn't fought, he just paid for a camp, and who knows when he's going to fight again. So believe me, the penalties in this sport are worse than any other sport, you know what I mean? You hear, and Barao's a guy who just got to the point where he's making big money now. The kid's finally in a position where he's making great money, and he just missed an entire payday after going through a full camp. It's pretty tough to penalize him any more than that. And who knows when he's going to fight again. So.
Did you talk to him about that, about how he was feeling, or how he's going to?
Nope.
Not a word?
No, I don't really ask guys about their feelings too much, but I said to him, "Are you okay?" I mean, first of all, you want to know that he's healthy and that he's okay. That's more important than any fight or any sporting event. As upset as we all are with him that he didn't make weight, you don't want to treat the kid like he's not a human being. He's a good kid. He's not a bad guy. For some reason, whatever the reason is, he and his camp know that reason. Either they've been doing it for so long and they've been lucky and they've made that weight, and now he's 27 and he just can't do it anymore, right? It's been so hard, and this time they didn't make it, and maybe that's why he performed so badly in his last fight, Who knows what that answer is? They know the answer, and they need to do the right thing and fix it. Is the right thing get rid of the nutritionist you have and get a better one? Or is the reality you can't make that weight anymore, move to 45, figure out with your buddy Aldo what he wants to do. If you guys decide to fight each other, I'm fine with that. I got no problem with that. Or if you don't, then he goes to 55.
Your dad told me today that they are going to do some tests with him in Brazil, like to see how his weight is doing, and then they are going to go from there.
Yep. This is 100%, like I said to this gentleman here, you couldn't penalize the guy any more than this kid has been penalized. Okay? He's been through hell. And hell isn't over for him because he's going home without a paycheck. So he's been penalized. Now he and his team need to seriously sit down and look at this and make the right decision for Renan Barao.
Dana, you've got like a billion things to think about, but do you have any idea if he came in heavier this week than he normally does?
I don't know, because when they come in, we weigh all of them.
Right.
So we have a good idea where everybody is and we know where they are. What happened is this time, I think, and don't quote me on this, most places will anyway, because I said it, I think he got to that 38 point. He got to 38, and that was it. His body shut down, and wasn't cutting any more weight.
He said he needed to lose like 2 pounds when he felt like
3 pounds.
And then,
He was at 38 when he fainted, and it wasn't even a faint. What happens is, once you deplete all of the electrolytes in your body, you basically become paralyzed. That's what happens. You become paralyzed. You can't move any of your limbs, and they had to come and call 911 and and you go in, they put it back into your body, takes some time, and then you're back to normal. But that's what he did. And when that happens, it means one thing: you cut your weight the wrong way. You cut your weight the wrong way. Somebody wasn't there monitoring you cutting your weight and know where your body is. And he needs a better nutritionist, in my opinion. But I don't know all the answers. So maybe I'm wrong. So they know what they need to do, and they need to fix it.
Is there any direct conversation in the wake of something like that happening between the promotion and the camp, not just Barao, but the camp, in terms of the nutritionist? And there's not a Mike Dolce of Brazil. Do you have that conversation?
Listen, this goes back to like, hey Dana, talk to these guys and tell them to stop taking drugs. Dana, don't let these guys spend all their money. Dana, tell these guys to pay their taxes. They're grown men. You know what I mean? They're grown men. And I'll give you an example. Kelvin Gastelum. Okay? Remember when Kelvin didn't make weight? Okay. Well, he didn't want to spend the money on Dolce. So what he did was he talked to Dolce for a while, and they tried to copy what Dolce does. And you saw the result of that. You're at a level now where you're making this much money. Get a nutritionist. He's as important or more important than your actual trainers. Or don't cut as much weight. Either do it the right way with the right people, or don't do it. This is your job.
You obviously made the statement with Cejudo. He's got a choice: either go to 135 or don't fight.
Well, this guy has like serious history of doing this, and he's never even fought here yet. Right. And from judo, he's had lots of weight cutting issues there, on his body. Like, it takes a toll on your body after a while.
So you guys came close with Thiago Alves. I remember when he missed weight a few times, where you're almost to the point where you pulled the trigger and said, go to 185, but that's it.
Yeah, like Anthony Johnson.
Yeah. So with Barao, what is because obviously this is a big moment to miss weight.
Right, but it's the only time he's never made weight.
Is he on a shorter leash though? If he misses it again or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Is there any reason Sunsao wouldn't be next? It seems like he's logical.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Daniel, last time you were here in California, you were asked about Corona. You said it was complicated. Any updates?
It's still complicated, but we're so close. There's like a couple of minor issues that will be done.
She's signed by the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I told you 6 months ago she can sign in 6 days too. So we'll see what happens.
Do you still feel confident that that's the next fight for Ronda, though?
I don't know. I did at one point. I don't know now.
Because that obviously could change with Kat Zingano at the end of September. She wins big. I mean, does that
Definitely. She's next in line. I mean, this girl looked great tonight. You know.
Last time we had a fight here in Sacramento, you were asked about possible uniform. You said you were working on it. Any updates since then?
We're working on it. You know, the uniform thing is something that we're looking at long term for all the fighters. I mean, believe me, if we get that thing done, I know there's been a negative, you know, everything we do there's negative shit written about it, but it will be great for the fighters.
Any front runners that will lead that?
You told us yesterday about the whole situation with Tyron Woodley and Hector Lombard. Usually when you say something, blows out on the internet, and then sometimes you hear back. Did you hear anything else from
That
Tyron
wasn't my intention. I wasn't trying to get, I know Tyron Woodley doesn't want that fight.
Or from Lombard, for that matter, like anything else from them? Did they contact you after
No,
that? Or?
I mean, that was it. You know, Tyrone doesn't want the fight. Hector Lombard wants to fight back. You know, that was it. You know, I saw people saying, "Oh, Dana does this every time to get the fight." I'm not trying to get. I know. In no way, shape, or form did I think I was going to say that to you guys yesterday. And Tyrone was going to call me and say, "I want that fight now." He doesn't want that fight.
Did that reaction from Tyron surprise you, given the fact that 6-7 months ago he was a guy that you would specifically identify as he texts me 100 times a day?
This is the shit that always happens every time a guy gets up into the top 4 or 5. This is the way that, you know, and it's guys who handle it the way that Tyrone does. That, you know, well, Tyrone did step up and take that fight in China, so, you know, I don't know. We'll see.
But you're saying it doesn't surprise you that maybe you see an increase in reluctance from him or calculation now that he's up in the rankings?
Doesn't matter. I mean, you can be as reluctant as you want. You're going to end up fighting the fights that you have to fight. You know, and anybody in that top 5 or 6, you're not avoiding anybody. You're going to end up fighting them, or you just sit out. You know, everybody thinks because of this, you know, we go through these injury bugs. They're like, yeah, I'll just wait, and somebody's going to get injured in one of the big fights, and you'll need me anyway. But that's it's the wrong way to look at it. I've seen so many guys play that card and it doesn't turn out well for him.
I was going to say, I mean, when you say that he doesn't want that fight, are you saying because he's trying to manage like what rank he's fighting, or do you think he just doesn't want a piece of Hector?
No, I think that he wants to fight. You know, I think he's 5th, and I think Hector Lombard is 6th. He's saying, I don't want to go that way. I want to
So
go
it's a
this way.
situation that he's below him, not like, hey, they've trained together.
Right.
And he knows he doesn't want the fight.
Right. You know, who knows? Only Tyrone knows that, if he really wants to fight him or doesn't want to fight him. But I think maybe if he was ranked number 3, maybe Tyrone would take the fight instead. You know. But I don't know that. You never know that. When you call a guy and he doesn't want to fight somebody, you don't know what the real reason is. Is it that he doesn't think he can beat him, or is it because that's what he told me. He goes, I don't want to go in that direction. I want to go in this direction. He said, I just took that last fight in the other direction. You know, meaning a guy who's lower ranked than him. I want guys that are higher ranked than me. But you can't sit around and wait for those type of fights, or you're not going to make any money. You're going to be inactive for a while. So it doesn't make sense. And that's what I say. Sometimes it always doesn't work out for you when you pull that stuff. You know.
Didn't he ask for Matt Brown?
Many times.
Didn't he ask for Matt Brown, who's actually behind him in the rankings, though? He asked for that fight.
Who did?
Tyron.
Tyron did?
He asked for Matt Brown. I think Matt Brown's 6th.
He didn't ask me for that fight. I talked to him 3 times. He didn't ask me for that fight.
Do you like that fight?
I like Matt Brown versus anybody. But Matt Brown's hand is messed up. You know, Matt Brown, did I tell you that yesterday? I called him, and he told me, I'll take that fight right now. I'm in. I'm 99.9. And then his manager started calling Joe Silva, freaking out. He's hurt. He can't take that fight. So that's why I love Matt Brown.
Dana, you've been trying to get Eddie Alvarez for years, and all of a sudden Scott Coker takes over Bellator, and you got him 2 weeks later. How did that go down?
I don't think we were trying to get him for years. It's where Eddie wanted to be for years. You know, at the end of the day, it's the guy got so screwed over there, and it's good that Coker did the right thing. You know, that kid had taken enough beating.
Do you think there'll be a better relationship now that Coker's in charge? That you know you'll have a better relationship with that organization, or?
I won't say anything bad about them. They don't say anything bad about us. I don't say anything bad about them. You know, my bullying rivals, or however that was said, you know, It was always whoever, they fired shots first and had things to say how the UFC doesn't do this and the UFC doesn't do that and we're going to do it better. Now you just picked a fight with me. Now we're going to fight until somebody wins and somebody loses. I mean, that's kind of the way that it went down. And that's called being competitive. Apparently, that dork from wherever the hell he's from, Deadspin, isn't a competitive guy. That's how competitive people work.
Dan, do you think the last second main event switch up might have spiked interest in the pay-per-view? People purchasing the pay-per-view?
The last spike?
No, the spot, the last second switch up in the main event. Do you think that might have piqued people's interest?
You never know what's going to sell pay-per-view. SportsCenter was all over this thing when it happened. A lot of people were talking about it. It was trending on Twitter all day, the day of the weigh-ins. Who knows? That might be the silver lining in this whole thing. The ticket sales were great.
You were impressed with that? You were impressed with ticket sales overall?
Yeah, they're better than what Dave Meltzer said they were going to be.
Dana, I noticed blatantly that you guys were putting up the Invicta advertisements at the bottom of the screen. Is this something we're going to see more and more as we go along?
Yeah, they're fighting on our Fight Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be pretty shitty if we didn't promote it.
Dana, if you were Danny Castillo, what would you do at this point? He's 35. I mean, here is a guy that has stepped in on short notice for you many times. So he's always been kind of a UFC guy.
Yeah.
What would you do if you're him?
It's always up to the athlete what they're going to do. Is he going to continue to fight? Is he going to, that's up to him. Castillo's last fight was awesome. This fight here he fought. I just said that I think Tony Ferguson is one of the most exciting, talented young guys out there. He's on a huge win streak, and it was a split decision. So I don't know if I'd be calling for Danny Castillo's retirement or resignation. It's up to him.
Have you had that fight?
I had that first. How did you guys have that fight?
Castillo, but so close.
I Castillo based solely on that last minute triangle choke attempt. It was that close.
Every judge gave him round 3. It was actually round 2 where he lost the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round 2 was the swing round.
Yeah. Here's my thing. You can't win a fight by trying to blanket a guy. Now, Tony Ferguson was going for things. He was throwing elbows and punches from the bottom. He was by far the most active fighter. He was actually going for stuff and trying to win and finish the fight. You can't score a guy to just clamp on and hold. I mean, that's what he did. He'd never even prop up, and try to ground and pound or anything. He didn't do anything. He just tried to blanket him. And especially, we're always bitching about the judging and everything. You can't lay in there, fight like that, and expect to win a judge's decision. It's craziness, I was actually happy because I felt the judges awarded the guy who was actually trying to finish the fight and do damage, So that's the way I saw it.
Gustafsson said today that he spoke to Lorenzo. And
Who did?
Alexander Gustafsson.
Okay.
That he spoke to Lorenzo, and that Lorenzo said, he could get the winner in Sweden, but if the UFC wants him to take a fight, he'll do it. So do you think now that he will fight maybe around the same time as OCC?
It makes sense for him to fight. It makes sense for him to fight. He should fight. He should stay active. He should keep making money. And the thing is, when you get to that level, when you're at the level of a Gustafsson or a Tyron Woodley or any of these guys, why would you not want to stay busy? Stay busy, keep making money, and wait for your shot.
Is Rumble the fight that you think?
I like that fight.
Would you make it around the same time as?
I don't know when we're going to make it. I like it. I didn't even know those two talked. I did not.
Have you talked to Gray Maynard?
No. Have you?
I talked to his manager.
And what's he thinking?
Still wants to fight.
Does he?
Yeah.
I'm interviewing you now.
What do you think of Manny Pacquiao getting in MMA?
I like Manny Pacquiao.
Did you hear that he's invested in ONE FC?
Yeah. Many people have invested in MMA.
Did that surprise you?
No. I think that it's fun. It's exciting. It's a good way to lose a lot of money.
Hey, Dana, Faber said that, jokingly, obviously, it would take $1 billion from the UFC to get him to fight Dillashaw.
It would take $1 billion to get who to fight who?
For Faber, for him to fight his good teammate. Now, obviously, the number is going to be far less than in your mind. Would you put a number on that? Is there something that?
I think that when you have a team, it's no different than George St. Pierre and Rory McDonald. When you have guys who are part of a team, they train together. I mean, tonight when they win, they're all excited for each other. Their families are here. You don't run around saying, "I'll fight him tomorrow. I want his belt," and all this stuff. And everybody believes they can beat each other in the back of their mind because they all train together. But when it comes down to it, Faber would 100% fight him for way less than $1 billion. And TJ would definitely fight him. It's like Rory McDonald is in GSP's house, you know what I mean, meaning his gym and everything. He's not going to run around saying, yeah, I want GSP for the belt. There's just a way, there's a time and a place and a way to do that. You're never going to hear the guy say it publicly. They would never do that.
But contractually, I mean, how much can you lean on Faber or Dillashaw to make
Well,
that fight
Faber's got to be in a position to fight for the title. You know what I mean? He's got to go in there and beat somebody and be in a position to fight for the title. And if he is, I promise you, he will do it. I know he will. And I know TJ will fight him too.
Dana, over the weekend, obviously you had way too much going on to notice with this, but Ben Askren won again over the weekend, really mauled his opponent again. He actually sent you a tweet, I don't know if you saw it, he joked, he said, "We're just giving out title shots, I'll take one." Will you ever revisit Ben Askren at some point? Now, I mean,
Isn't he under contract?
I think he has a clause in his contract that he could get out of it if there's some clause in there, I think, where he could get out of his contract.
Yeah.
Will you ever revisit the Ben Askren situation?
Yeah, I think if he keeps winning and, get a shot over here.
We're on the verge of the debut of the next season, The Ultimate Fighter, and there's never been more on the line than this season. You're going to crown a champion for the first time, and also it's the inauguration of an entire division. I know you can't give away a lot, but can you give us an idea based on that unprecedented aspects of what's at stake, how happy you are with the progress?
I love this season of The Ultimate Fighter. It's way better than last season of The Ultimate Fighter. And I think I know people. Wait till you guys just. Some of you saw the first screener, right?
Yeah,
Everybody see the first screener?
Yeah.
No? You got fucked. Talk to these guys. They'll send you a screener. The first one went out. It's the first episode, right? You guys all got the first episode.
Yep.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. Wait to see the teaser. It's a really good season, and I always look at the reality is great. The fights are fucking awesome, and that's all I really care about. That's the way I feel about Tough Mexico too. Going into Tough 19, I knew I was like, oh my god. I don't know how long people are going to hang in there for this, but we got a good one this season. Everybody's going to be happy. The president of Fox, Eric Shanks, is. Craig, how many times does Shanks call and talk about this season of The Ultimate Fighter?
Well, 3 or 4 times.
How much he loves it. Every time he watches a new episode, he's like, oh my god, I love this season of The Ultimate Fighter. So they're really happy.
Just because you brought up Ultimate Fighter Mexico, having watched that first season, to me, for some reason in my mind, I thought it helped the familiarity, the fact that it was in Vegas, it was in the house. Was there thought on the production side of it that maybe that would help familiarize the viewer with the product?
Well, we've tried to move the thing around and do some stuff, but it's a lot easier when we can do it in Vegas. And Vegas makes sense. It's the fight capital of the world. It's a lot easier on me and my crew for sure.
A few years ago, you obviously famously said your opinion on women's MMA. Now, 3 years later, Ronda Rousey, arguably one of the biggest stars in the sport. Now we've got the 115-pound division. Sounds like you love the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Is this still kind of the opening for another division at some point? I know a lot of 125ers want to get here, and that seems like that could be it.
Because we have 2 divisions, like that 125 is right in the middle. We screw a lot of things up. We're gonna stay here for a long time. We're gonna be at 115 and 145 for a long time.
Did you hear anything about how week 2 for Tough Mexico in Mexico?
Yeah, so it went head to head with the Video Music Awards. We did 6.6 million viewers. Yeah, that's huge. So we were really happy. They were pumped. So that's good.
Yeah, just to follow up on Askren, I feel like I've been able to decipher your tone when you're kind of warming up to something. That was a different response than usual.
Was it?
Yeah, it seems like you were warming up to it.
There you go. I must be warming up. If Ariel Hawani says I'm warming up, I must be. Listen, I'll warm up to fucking anything right now, man. I'm in a good mood.
What has changed? Because before
tonight was a great night.
Oh, so it's just tonight.
Together, yeah.
Have you?
Listen, Ben Askren said a lot of stupid shit, when he left. But I don't care about stuff like that. I could care less about any of that. We'll see how the kid fights, what he keeps doing. We'll go from there. I don't. Contrary to popular belief, I do hold grudges. If you're a real idiot, yeah, I'll hold a grudge till the day I drop dead. But with fighters, I don't really do that with fighters. These guys guys are built different than everybody. They're tough guys, man. This is what they do for a living, and they're going to say stuff like that. If Tito could come back to the UFC, anybody can come in here, believe me. Because there's nobody on earth I hated worse than Tito. And Tito came back. You know, don't have to like him to do business with him. So we'll see.
Now, Dana.
Maybe Rich Franklin can help make it happen.
Dana, given what you know, I know you can't tell us too much about the Ultimate Fighter season with the straw women, but given what you know, did you see a woman in there that could have the star power of Ronda Rousey?
Yes. Wait till you guys see the season of the Ultimate Fighter, man. It's so good. It's so good, and the fights are so good. Like he was saying about me not warming up to it earlier. The reason I didn't was because I saw that fight up in Northern California that time, and it was such a mismatch. It was horrible. And women's MMA has come so far, you know, in 13 years. It's unbelievable. And you guys are going to be blown away. Yeah, there's a Ronda Rousey on this season of the Ultimate Fighter. Absolutely.
Do you guys have any plans of breaking ground in the UFC complex? I know you bought a bunch of land. You were going to start to...
Soon, I think. I don't
Is
know
that
when.
coming
You know when
up?
that is, Craig?
Sorry.
When are we breaking ground?
UFC complex?
Oh, when are we
The
breaking
new
ground?
offices.
18 to 24 months?
He goes to all the meetings that I don't go to.
It's going to be a while.
Sounds like 2 years. It's massive, though. It's going to be huge, so they've been working on it forever.
Have you decided to pull Dave Schaller from any future way?
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, Dave Schaller will not ruin another step and repeat, okay? Ruined a perfectly good step and repeat banner.
Got it. I've got it.
Thanks, Damon.
Yeah. We're getting low on questions here. If you're asking Dave Schaller questions, right? We done?
It seemed like you had a good time in Macau and Hong Kong recently. Are you happy there? Are you interested in actually
I
breaking
love
into
it,
the
man.
mainland?
I love it. I could live in Hong Kong. I love that city. It's funny, you know. We moved into Asia to start, building that market over there. But those of you that haven't been to a recent fight there, you guys should get over there. Hong Kong's a 30-minute boat ride from Macau. The Venetian Macau is the sickest, craziest building you will ever be in. You know, I was thinking, I grew up in Vegas. You know, it's another place with casinos. I've been to, Indian reservations, and I've been to Atlantic City. I've been to all those places. The Venetian Macau is like one of the 8th wonders of the world. This thing is 16 million square feet. There's so many people in this building, you can't believe it. They're putting on all these huge events. The city around there is really cool. Hong Kong is amazing. You know, I know you guys don't have massive budgets, to travel around with, but you guys should make one of the fights in Macau one of your stops. It's definitely a bucket list thing. It's really cool. And the thing that I like about it, it's a great destination, not just for, the people in China, but for people in the UK. There were a lot of people from Australia there. People have been traveling, and our relationship is getting even better and better with Venetian Macau, and we're going to end up doing some real big things with these guys. So I'm very excited about it.
Dana.
Will that kind of halt you from going up to the mainland at some point?
No, we're going to mainland China too, but you have to, we have to go in there and slowly build the market, and not just build the market as far as the fans go, but the talent.
Dana, there was rumors about Turkey. What's the next new Asian country?
Turkey.
Yeah.
We're going to Mexico first. Not Turkey, but there was some other place that we were going. We're going to the Philippines. We're going to Korea. I mean, we're focusing on Asia right now.
Dean, any chance you're going to go down South America, Peru, Chile, any of those?
Again, think about this. Dave just asked me about the second episode of The Ultimate Fighter, right? Think about what we just did in Mexico. We just broke every record in the arena in Mexico City history. Broke every record with ticket sales there, right? We just went on TV with The Ultimate Fighter and did 7 million. Came back to back, went against the Video Music Awards, which I guess is a big deal down there. And we did 6.6 million in a completely uneducated market about MMA. Mexico isn't when we went into Brazil, the first episode of The Ultimate Fighter did 12 million viewers, right? The whole country is very educated about MMA. I mean, it started down there. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Vale Tudo, it's been down there. We went into Mexico and pulled these kind of numbers and did this kind of a sellout in a market that knows nothing about the UFC or MMA. So, what was my point? What did you ask me?
If you're going to go down south to Peru, Argentina, Chile, any of those places.
Yeah, so we were on UFC Network down in all these other countries, and as we continue to build, talent, market, the whole thing, Yes. The answer is yes. That was my long-winded answer to yes. But it's fucking amazing, man. It's fun. I'm having a really good time with all that stuff.
Did you, do you kind of, I don't know if the word is regret, but do you kind of like look at perhaps doing Plaza Mexico or, like a bull ring or something like that in Mexico City?
A bull ring?
Something like that. An outdoor show.
I went to a Junior Jones.
Because Chavez fought there, outside once.
And down in Tijuana, Junior Jones fought. Remember Poison Junior Jones?
Well, I've been in fights in Tijuana before.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if we do it, but it was great to see a boxing match there. The only outdoor arenas we would do are places that it doesn't rain very much, it doesn't get very windy, it's too scary, But why do we gotta go to a bull ring? Stadiums.
Well, I was just thinking, if you sold 20,000 tickets, if you sold 20,000 tickets in 8 hours, maybe you could have sold 40,000 tickets or 50,000 tickets if you
I get it, yeah. Yeah, but listen, going into a market the first time that's not very educated in MMA and selling 21,000 tickets, that's pretty big. It's pretty ballsy to try to go to a 40,000 seat arena down there, We did it the right way and it worked out perfect.
Dana, you pretty much got most of your shows plotted out for 2014. 2015, can we expect more shows? Same amount, less? What do you expect?
I think we're going to do the same amount that we're doing this year, next year. As far as I know right now. See what happens.
This is The Roman Show.